Good morning. Let me tell you something that might sting a little. Nobody truly cares about you the way you wish they did. And you know what? That's not a bad thing. In fact, it might just be the most powerful truth you ever embrace. This is a tough pill to swallow, but it's one of the most liberating realizations you can have. We often live under the illusion that people are paying close attention to our every move, our failures, our awkward moments, or even our successes. But the truth is, most people are too wrapped up in their own lives, their own problems, and their own insecurities to be overly concerned with yours. That project you messed up, they forgot about it a day later. That thing you were too embarrassed to post or say because you fear judgment. Most people didn't even notice, and if they did, they moved on quickly. It's not that people are cruel or heartless. It's just that everyone is the main character in their own story, and you're a side note at best. The world doesn't stop spinning because you're hurting, uncertain, or trying something new. That can feel lonely at first, but there's power in that loneliness. Once you realize that the spotlight you think is on you doesn't really exist, you stop performing for others and start living for yourself. You begin to understand that you don't need to wait for permission to start, to fail, or to rebuild. No one is watching you as closely as you imagine. And that's exactly why you should be bold, unfiltered, and unapologetically committed to becoming who you're meant to be. Once you accept that people aren't obsessing over your every move, you're free to make mistakes, take risks, and grow in your own time without the crushing weight of imagined judgment. So when you finally let go of the need to impress or please anyone and realize just how little people care in the grand scheme of things, you also discover just how much power you have when you stop trying to be seen and instead start showing up for yourself. In today's world, it's easier than ever to seek approval from others. A post gets likes, a comment gets praise, a story gets replies, and for a moment you feel seen, you feel valued, but feeling it fades at fast. External validation is like a sugar rush. It gives you a quick high, but it never lasts, and it never truly nourishes you. The applause you crave today can vanish tomorrow. People's opinions are fickle. What they cheer for now, they might criticize later. And if your worth is built on their reactions, your self-esteem will rise and fall with every shift in mood or trend. You may work hard, achieve something, and share it hoping for recognition. Maybe you get it, maybe you don't. But when the likes stop coming, when the compliments quiet down, what are you left with? If you didn't believe in what you were doing from the start, if your only motivation was validation, then you'll be left empty. Because validation is not substance. It's decoration. It's not the foundation of real confidence. It's the paint on the surface. The problem isn't that validation feels good. It's that we become addicted to it. We start shaping our decisions, goals, even our identity around what gets approval. We abandon what matters to us for what gets noticed. And in that process, we lose ourselves. We become performers, not creators, imitators, not originals. We begin living to be liked instead of living to be fulfilled. But here's the shift. The moment you stop relying on external applause to feel worthy, you start building something much stronger, internal respect. You begin to ask yourself, do I like what I'm doing? Am I proud of this? Even if no one notices, that's the kind of validation that sticks. It's rooted in values, not vanity. It grows from alignment, not attention. True growth happens in silence. Mastery is often unnoticed. Most progress isn't post-worthy. It's personal. So chase depth, not hype. Do what you do because it matters to you, not because you want claps from people who probably aren't even paying close attention. The validation that matters most is the kind you give yourself when no one is watching. And you know you showed up fully. At some point, you have to realize that no one is come to rescue you. Nobody is going to push you out of bed every morning, force you to face your fears, or hold your hand through every setback. The people around you can support you, yes, but they can't do the inner work for you. They can't feel your pain, endure your doubts, or put in the reps on your behalf. This journey, it's yours, and everything you want Whether it's confidence, discipline, peace, or success, starts with accepting full ownership of your life. You can't keep blaming your parents, your past, your boss, your ex, or the system. You can't wait for the perfect time, the perfect mood, or the perfect motivation. Life isn't fair. Sometimes it's brutal. But the truth is, your circumstances don't define you. Your choices do. You either take charge of your direction or you keep drifting, waiting for something or someone to carry you forward. But drift long enough, and you end up somewhere you never meant to be. Progress is messy. It's slow. It's often invisible. There are days when you feel like nothing is changing, like you're stuck in the same loop. And that's when most people quit, because they expect growth to be loud, obvious, and instant. But real growth isn't always Instagrammable. It happens in the quiet moments when you choose to stay consistent, even when no one is watching. It happens when you show up to the gym, study the extra hour, walk away from the toxic habit, or speak kindly to yourself after a setback. That's the work. That's the grind. And no one else can do it for you. You are responsible for your healing. You are responsible for your mindset. You are responsible for building the skills, learning the lessons, and breaking the patterns that have held you back. It doesn't mean you have to be perfect. It means you have to be committed to your own evolution, even when it hurts, especially when it hurts. When you finally stop outsourcing your growth to other people or external forces, you unlock something powerful: self-leadership. You begin to move from a place of agency, not excuse. You stop asking for permission to level up. You stop waiting for the world to push you and start pulling yourself forward, because no one else can walk your path but you. Approval seeking is a quiet trap. It disguises itself as humility, as being considerate, as trying to fit in or keep the peace, but at its core, it's fear. Fear of rejection, fear of being misunderstood, fear of not being enough. And when you constantly look over your shoulder to make sure people are okay with who you are or what you're doing, you start editing yourself. You water down your ideas, you silence your voice, and you shrink your presence just to avoid judgment or disapproval. And here's the worst part. Even after all that, you still won't please everyone. The desire to be liked by everyone is a losing game. No matter how good you are, how kind, how smart, how careful, you will always be a too much for some people and a not enough for others. You'll be judged for trying, for not trying, for caring, for not caring. So why play a game that keeps you stuck, anxious, and disconnected from your real self? Why spend your energy crafting a version of you that doesn't even feel real just to win over people who likely don't know your story, or worse, don't actually care? Approval seeking is subtle, but its cost is massive. It makes you second guess your decisions. It makes you abandon your boundaries. It makes you say yes when you mean a no and stay silent when you should speak up. It keeps you in jobs, relationships, or lifestyles that look good from the outside but feel hollow on the inside. You start living for the appearance of success rather than the feeling of alignment. And that disconnect, it slowly chips away at your confidence, your creativity, and your sense of identity. But when you stop chasing approval, something amazing happens. You start trusting yourself. You start listening to your own voice instead of echoing everyone else's. You realize that your worth isn't up for debate, and you stop putting it in the hands of other people. You start doing things because they feel right to you, not because they'll earn applause. Letting go of approval doesn't mean you stop caring about others. It means you stop betraying yourself to keep others comfortable. It means you choose authenticity over acceptance. And in that shift, you find freedom. You start living on your terms, with your values, at your pace. You take the wheel. And when that happens, life starts feeling real again. Not curated, not filtered, not performative, just real. Real. Lasting change doesn't happen because someone told you to do better. It doesn't happen because someone guilt-tripped you into action or because you were momentarily inspired by a quote or a podcast. Those things might spark something, but they can't sustain you. Real change begins the moment you make a decision, not a wish. not a maybe someday, a decision, a commitment to yourself that you're done waiting, done complaining, done making excuses, and ready to take responsibility for your life. That kind of commitment is powerful because it's internal. It's not about proving anything to others. It's about proving something to you. It's the voice inside that says, this matters to me. I'm not doing this because I should. I'm doing it because I deserve better, because I believe in something more for myself. It's rooted in self-respect. Committing to yourself means showing up even when the motivation fades. It means doing the hard, boring, repetitive things when no one is clapping. It's waking up early when you'd rather sleep in, studying when you're tired, training when it hurts, setting boundaries when it's uncomfortable, and choosing growth over comfort again and again. It's not glamorous. It's often lonely, but it's how transformation happens. And here's what most people get wrong. They wait until they feel ready to commit, but feelings are fleeting. Commitment is a choice. You don't commit because you feel confident. You commit until you become confident. You don't commit because it's easy. You commit because it's worth it. And when you finally start backing yourself the way you've been waiting for others to, something inside you shifts. You stop seeing yourself as a victim of your circumstances, and you start becoming the architect of your future. You begin to trust your ability to follow through, even when it's hard. You begin to take your goals seriously, not as distant fantasies, but as real possibilities that you are actively working toward. You stop breaking promises to yourself. You stop quitting halfway. And that consistency, that quiet discipline, that's what builds belief. The truth is, commitment is the bridge between who you are now and who you want to become. No one else can walk that bridge for you, and no one can make you cross it. But once you do, once you commit to you, there's no limit to what becomes possible. There's a quiet power in saying, this is my life, and I own every part of it, good, bad, and in between. When you take full ownership of your journey, you stop waiting for a rescue, for a lucky break, or for someone to fix things for you. You stop pointing fingers. You stop blaming the past, your upbringing, your environment, or your circumstances for why you are where you are. It doesn't mean those things don't matter. They shaped you, but they don't have to define you. Ownership says, maybe it's not my fault, but it's still my responsibility. It's easy to fall into the trap of victimhood, especially when life hits hard, when things go wrong, when people let you down, or when you feel behind. It feels comforting, at least temporarily, to say, this isn't my fault. But the more you stay in that mindset, the more power you give away. The more you wait for someone or something outside yourself to change your life, the longer you stay stuck. Ownership is the opposite. It's about taking your power back. It's saying, if I got myself here, I can get myself out. If I made choices that hurt me, I can start making ones that heal me. It's not about being hard on yourself. It's about being honest with yourself, about how you show up, about the patterns you've repeated, about the habits you've let slide, and also about the strength you've overlooked, the resilience you've built, the wisdom you've earned. Because when you take ownership, you see the full picture. You don't cherry pick only the pain or only the pride. You hold both and use them to grow. Ownership also means letting go of the illusion of control over others. You stop obsessing over what they think, how they act, or what they give you. You realize you can't control how people treat you, but you can control what you tolerate. You can't control everything life throws at you, but you can control how you respond. That's where freedom begins, not in having a perfect life, but in realizing you already have the power to shape your own. And when you start walking through life with that mindset, you stop waiting and start creating. You become proactive instead of reactive. You stop drifting and start directing. You realize that you don't need permission to level up. You only need a decision. And that decision begins with one thing. Ownership.self-respect isn't something you're born with. It's something you build. And like anything worth building, it takes consistent effort over time. It's not earned through shortcuts, borrowed confidence, or praise from others. It's built in the moments when you follow through on your word, Even when it's hard, it grows every time you choose what's right over what's easy, what's true over what's popular, and what's necessary over what's comfortable. Every time you say you're going to do something and actually do it, you reinforce trust in yourself. That trust is the foundation of self-respect, because you know deep down that you can rely on you, that you're not just talk, that you don't make empty promises to yourself and walk away when it gets tough. You begin to feel solid, not because life is perfect, but because you know you're showing up for yourself day in and day out. Independent action means you don't need someone else to push you. You don't need a crowd to hype you up. You move forward because you decided to. That's where real confidence starts, not when everyone else believes in you, but when you've proven to yourself that you're disciplined, determined, and focused enough to make progress without needing someone to hold your hand. You begin to respect your own grind, your own evolution, and your own pace. And it's in the quiet, invisible choices, the ones nobody claps for, that self-respect is born. Like choosing to study when you'd rather scroll, choosing to walk away from gossip or drama, choosing to keep your word when no one would know if you didn't, choosing to rest when your body needs it, even if your ego wants to keep pushing. These aren't just decisions. They're declarations. You're telling yourself, I matter, my values matter, my future matters. As that respect grows, everything else shifts. Your boundaries become clearer, your standards rise. You stop entertaining situations, people, or behaviors that drain you. You start choosing with intention, not desperation. And that's the magic of it. When you take consistent, independent action, you no longer need to chase confidence or wait for it. You become it because you've earned your own respect. And that's a type of validation that no one can give you and no one can take away. At the end of the day, when the lights go out, when the noise fades, when the crowd disappears, you are the one who has to live with the choices you've made, not your friends, not your family, not your boss, your critics, or the people scrolling past your life online, just you. You're the one who wakes up with your habits, your routines, your regrets, your pride, your health, your peace, or your chaos. That means whatever you build, you're the one who's stuck with it. So why wouldn't you build something that actually feels right to you? So many people live their lives like a performance, chasing degrees they don't care about, jobs they hate, relationships that drain them, all because it looks good or because it's what was expected of them. They follow paths that were handed to them, not chosen by them. And years down the line, when the applause stops or the validation fades, they're left wondering why they feel so disconnected from themselves. That disconnection, it's the cost of living for everyone else instead of yourself. Doing it for you doesn't mean being selfish. It means being honest. It means asking yourself hard questions. What do I really want? What kind of life would I be proud to wake up to every day? What kind of person do I want to become? And then not waiting for permission, not waiting for approval, starting, not because someone told you to, not because you want to prove someone wrong, not because you're trying to impress anyone, but because you're done betraying your own potential. Because you finally realize this life is yours and no one else is coming to live it for you. When you start doing it for you, everything changes. Your motivation becomes stronger, deeper. You stop getting knocked down by every opinion, every setback, because your reason for showing up isn't fragile. It's personal. It's anchored in something real. And even when it's hard, even when no one is watching, you keep going because it's your dream, your peace, your legacy. And that's something no one else can understand because they're not walking in your shoes. You are the one who will feel the weight of the things you didn't do. You are the one who will reap the rewards of discipline or the consequences of avoidance. So let your fuel be this. You matter enough to follow through. Your future matters enough to fight for. And your happiness matters enough to make uncomfortable decisions today for the life you want tomorrow. Because no one else has to live with your choices, but you do. In the end, the most powerful thing you can do for yourself is to stop waiting for someone else to give you permission to live the life you deserve. Stop hoping for validation. That will never be enough. Stop looking for approval that keeps you small, and stop letting the world decide who you should be. Do it for you. Because when you live for yourself, not for others, you'll discover that the only approval you ever needed was your own. You'll see that the path to growth, happiness, and fulfillment has always been yours to walk. And when you finally take ownership of your own journey, when you decide to make the changes that matter to you, you'll create a life that truly reflects who you are, without compromise, without regret. So the next time you find yourself hesitating or seeking approval from someone else, remind yourself you're the one who lives with the results. It's time to stop living for anyone but yourself. Do it for you. Thank you.